Good evening to all participating Scouts and Scouters. Welcome to our online #Third Scouts webinar, hosted by eScouting PH, an initiative by the Sacred Heart School Ateneo de Cebu Leaders Council and Scouts of Cebu Council. I am your host, Eagle Scout Ken Boltiador. It is an honor for us tonight for being able to have our resource speaker here with us. This webinar series is eScouting PH's way of giving time for nature. As Scouts, we are reminded to be stewards of creation and guardians of a sustainable future. Today's talk is all about the agricultural mindset to be given by Mr. Danilo Dilio. Before we turn over the floor to our resource speaker, we would like to remind everyone of our rules and regulations with regard to this webinar. 1. The Scout Law is the prime law of this webinar. 2. Please keep your microphones muted during the whole duration of the webinar and during the talk proper of the speaker. During the open forum, you may unmute your microphones once acknowledged by the host or the speaker. Before you unmute the microphone, please inform the host or speaker of your intention to state any queries through raising your hand in the conferencing medium. Questions will be entertained only in the open forum. You may not ask personal questions or non-subject related questions during the webinar. Also avoid unprofessional behavior when present during the webinar. We also request our viewers through Zoom to not use the annotation tool or to draw any unnecessary drawings on the screen during the talk proper, as it is distracting to the viewers and the speaker. We would like to inform everybody that eScouting PH and its administrators strongly abide with the policies set in keeping Scouts safe from harm. We would like to ask everybody to help us in promoting the safety and welfare of our Scouts, especially through digital means, by not engaging in cyberbullying, reporting those who are being exploited online, and doing all what it means to promote a safe and friendly Scouting environment. Your wholehearted cooperation is much desired to make this webinar a great learning experience. Now we would like to turn over the floor to our resource speaker, Mr. Danilo Dilio, for the discussion proper. Sir?
Thank you, Ken, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. Can I just have a thumbs up of everyone if you are there? Okay. While waiting for the screen, welcome to the eScouting Philippines Facebook page. While you are staying at home and watching this webinar, feel free to interact with me either by using the comment section feature or simply giving reactions. Welcome to the third Scouts webinar with the theme focusing on I think the COVID-19 pandemic gives us the best time to start caring for nature. I am here having this webinar entitled The Agricultural Mindset. This is my personal advocacy of promoting an agricultural mindset even in the times of COVID-19. Just to give you an overview, the webinar flow, can we have the next slide, will be first, I will have an introduction of myself, why agriculture is nearest to my heart. Then second one, what is our context, or simply put, in the new normal? What kind of world we are or are we in now? Third is the webinar proper, the agricultural mindset. But I will connect this to my experiences while being enrolled as an MBA student of Ateneo de Manila University Graduate School of Business. Lastly, our call to action, what we can do to have an agricultural mindset and what more we can do to cultivate this mindset and in the long run, share the same to the rest. Next slide, please. A little bit of disclaimer while conducting this webinar. I am here not to teach you anything, but only to make you think. I hope by the end of this webinar, you will be disturbed in a positive way and use this disturbance to do something in the agricultural sector of our country. I know at this very moment you are disturbed by my picture wearing my Boy Scout uniform with a hanky on my head. Perhaps this is our Scout-owned version during our time when we are asked to dance and act as lovers in the tune of I'll know I'll never love this way again. Thus one Scout must be the man and the other one rather must be the woman. Obviously, I have decided to be a woman. Kidding aside, I hope this would be a great picture just to connect with all of you. But I want you to know that those times were great times of my childhood days. Next slide, please. As what I've said, I will start by introducing myself. I am a son of a farmer, a grandson of a farmer, and a great-grandson of a farmer. Knowing this, I am 100% surefire that agriculture is in our blood. But it saddens me that no one in the fourth generation of my family is interested in farming. And I was disturbed by this reality. And I said to myself that if this should be my intergenerational responsibility, the agricultural legacy of my family must continue. This is where I started agricultural mindset movement as a revolutionary approach in igniting enthusiasm for agriculture among the younger generation. Next slide. But perhaps you're wondering how we can have this mindset, this agricultural mindset in the new normal. Is this mindset is still relevant in the new normal, in the kind of world that we are now? I welcome you all to the VUCA world. It is a VUCA world. What is VUCA world? Next slide, please. V stands for volatility, that the new normal is volatile. It demands us to react quickly to ongoing changes that are unpredictable and out of control. There is so much instability due to changes. This is evident in how we transition as a country to work from home arrangement, to online learning for students and teachers. That's what we are doing at this very moment. And drastic changes in business collaboration and culture due to social media. U stands for uncertainty, that the new normal is uncertain. It requires us to take action without certainty. As in the first line of Madonna's You Must Love Me song, and sung by our president, our beloved president, and the birthday video produced by Cinemotion Digital Films, and it goes like this: where do we go from here? This is a very powerful lyric question telling us the future is unpredictable. C stands for complexity, that the new normal is complex. The environment that we are now is very dynamic, with so many interdependencies and multifaceted realities. This is evident in the radical effects of the internet on traditional corporate structures and systems. The natural frictions between present-day industrial capitalism and the digital economy. Government transparency, citizen empowerment, and the creation of public value. Lastly, A stands for ambiguity, but the new normal is ambiguous. At the start of 2020, we told ourselves that 2020 is our year, but we're almost half of the year. Is 2020 still our year? This new normal brings us to the unfamiliar and outside of our expertise. These are confusing situations. Without a doubt, these are confusing situations. Without a doubt, government, businesses, and health institutions did not foresee the immensity of this pandemic, this COVID-19. In reality, organizations have done their part on earthquake and fire drills, for instance, but not for this pandemic. Can we have the next slide, please? But life must go on despite that we are in the book world. This is where mindset is very important. As they often said in consolatory tones, once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. Please allow me to enter into your mind by introducing a new mindset in the times of COVID-19. Particularly the agricultural mindset. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Particularly the agricultural mindset. Okay. What is this mindset all about? This simply means love for agriculture. We are driven by love. We can make impossible possible because of love. Can you imagine if we apply the same to agriculture? Love moves mountains, and we can push forward agriculture until someone will listen, until the world will listen, until everyone will be able to understand the importance of agriculture into our lives. Moreover, the mindset simply means deep diveable passion for agriculture. When we say deep diveable, there is this overwhelming desire, and I hope this overwhelming desire leads to agriculture. However, as the jobless generation grows up because of the pandemic, unemployment rate goes up because of this pandemic, we realize the grand betrayal of the false idols of passion, that passion is not enough. The philosophy no longer works for us, or at most feels incomplete. So what do we do? I propose a different frame of reference. By forgetting about finding your passion, instead focus on finding big problems. This time, in the new normal, it should be problem-based approach. What big problems are you trying to solve? Or in particular, what big problems in agriculture are you trying to solve? Next slide, please. My first taste of solving an agricultural problem and the process develop an agricultural mindset is when I joined the 10th Lee Kuan Yew Global Business Competition of Singapore. We are a team in this competition and we propose a multidisciplinary approach by combining agriculture and architecture. We call this life project of ours Agritecture, the hotel of the future. Can we have the next slide? In our country, wherein there is an inadequate and intermittent supply of water, we propose for hotel establishment to practice 100% water recycling. Instead of wastewater going to the canals, it will go straight now to the central water collection center of the hotel. Treat wastewater using the same technology used by the new water of Singapore, to make it ultra clean and high grade reclaimed water, which now can be used as an irrigation system for the urban garden of the hotel. So the hotel now has a urban garden, and wastewater from the urban garden will go back now to the central water collection center of the hotel. I hope this business practice will lead our country to water sustainability, especially during summer. Can we have the next slide, please? Moreover, we propose state-of-the-art urban farming. Hotels must have spaces for this, wherein vertical gardening can be possible. Green sili and pechay for sinigang, eggplant for torta, and lettuce for sanjupsal are some of the vegetables you can literally grow in a limited space or in a vertical garden. This will give quality food to hotel guests and hotel visitors, as well as massive savings on hotel operations. The other side, in our homes, we can have container gardening by reusing plastic bottles, baskets, tetra, juice packs, cans, and basins as containers in cultivating edible plants instead of growing directly on the ground. This time, spaces and resources are not limitations in having our own harvest. There are food grade containers or plastics have recycle codes number 1, 2, 4, and 5. And these containers have low toxicity levels rather, and are safe for container gardening or for gardening. Can we have the next slide? According to Zero Waste Scotland, leftover food harms the planet more than plastic. So can you imagine? If we focus more on plastic, but we realize that leftover food harms more than plastics. Food waste has bigger carbon footprint. As they break down, they emit methane gas, which is many times more harmful in the short term to our climate than carbon dioxide or CO2. Methane gas is one of the most damaging greenhouse gases driving climate change. Thus, it is sustainable to convert hotel food waste, or in your case, home food waste, your food waste in your homes, into organic fertilizer or using vermicomposting method. The food waste from hotel restaurants, such as vegetables and fruit peels, are fast decaying matters which are good for organic as an organic fertilizer. Can we have the next slide, please? I drink water. My second taste of solving an agricultural problem, and in the process of development or developing an agricultural mindset, is when I joined the 10 ppm Regional Business Case Competition of Indonesia. Again, we are a team in this competition, and we propose a multidisciplinary approach by combining agriculture this time from agriculture times architecture. This time we have agriculture times banking. We call this live project of ours AgriBank. We call it AgriBank, making digital banking made more human in Industry 5.0. That regardless of whatever revolution or industry or changes or digital innovations that will emerge in the future, we need to ensure that bank financial products and services must be readily available to farmers, just like land bank. Okay. We need also to equip them with advancement in agriculture technologies, such as practicing precision agriculture or satellite farming, the use of satellite in the farming or in agri farms, or site-specific crop management, SSCM. This is a farming management concept based on observing. We observe, we measure, and respond to inter and intrafield variability of crops. In the end, we want local communities to be sustainable and not rely on other cities, municipalities, provinces, so that when pandemic like COVID-19, what we are facing right now, will happen again in the future, we are more sustainable in terms of food supply. Okay, so that's the problem because we are asking supply when we close borders, the seaports and the airports, we lack food supply, particularly agricultural products. So if we allow the localities to be self-sufficient or the local communities to be self-sufficient, then we don't have problem in terms of food sustainability. Can we have next slide, please? My third taste of solving an big agricultural problem, and in the process, again, develop an agricultural mindset is when I joined the first International Investment Challenge organized by Ateneo de Manila University and Oxford Business Group. Okay. I joined alone and I won a social impact award. Okay, so this is the first time that I joined the competition alone and also the first time that I won. In my two competitions, the agriculture, agritecture, and agribank, we did not win that competition, but this time we won, okay? And I got the I won rather, and I got the social impact award. What is this award all about? Okay, this is more combining agriculture and education. When we scaffold millennials to develop an agricultural mindset towards a drought-resilient rice rather. This time we focus more on the rice, on organic rice. That happened rather in August. That happened in August 2019. Then can you imagine August, September, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, in just a period of 9 months, the Asian Institute of Management, one of the famous management schools also in the country, created a course, okay, an executive course for education that can be disaster-proof the agricultural sector. For example, if COVID will come again, can we make it disaster resilient? We need the innovation now and disaster resilience in every business that we will do, okay, in the future, so that it will be disaster-proof when again, COVID-19 will happen again. Okay, so can we have the next slide? Hello? Okay. But this agricultural mindset must be incubated. When we say incubation, we put it into something so that we can cultivate that particular mindset. So what is this all about? We provide first the free education program. Okay, so for those who are interested, students who are interested to take up agriculture in college, we provide them 100% tuition fee and miscellaneous, mean to say they will not pay anything. So it's a free education program, but that education program must again, sorry, I went out. Okay, so, but the education program must be at par with international standards. So we will not just plant, but we should adapt again technology, digital innovation in farming. Another one, the entrepreneurial journey. It should be an education scholarship with an express purpose of producing entrepreneurs. So we will not just select students because they want to finish a degree or they don't want to finish college and have jobs in the future. We need to conceptualize a program, an education scholarship, an education program, wherein there is this mindset that they will become an entrepreneur, particularly agripreneur, agricultural entrepreneur, agriculture entrepreneur in the future. Okay, so this particular entrepreneurial journey or education scholarship must work within a 10-year program, meaning to say 10-year 10-year program, meaning to say you cannot have another job except to be an agripreneur within a 10-year period. You have to go out, you have to give back to the community as an agripreneur within a 10-year period. If you will ask me, sir, what if I'll change my mind after graduation? Okay, so you will have to bring back the funds, okay, used by the government or the universities or colleges or non-government organizations, okay, before you can change career. Okay, so that's the safeguard of the program. so that to ensure that you will be an agripreneur. The next one is the disaster resilient rice. Because when flood, when drought will come into our country, particularly this happened, I propose this to Thailand, we should have a rice that can survive prolonged drought, okay, or flood. Meaning to say we can still harvest the rice, okay, even if there is a drought or there is flood, and yet produce adequate yield, meaning to say the rice capacity will not decrease. It will still produce adequate yield despite the natural disasters, okay? Or in the case of Yolanda, okay, can we do that? Or the flood in Manila, okay, can we, or in other areas of our country, okay, particularly in Nueva Ecija, wherein there is this agricultural landscape. If there is drought and at the same time flood, is the rice must produce adequate yield. Okay, so it should not be an hindrance to produce adequate yield. Natural disasters must not be a hindrance to produce adequate yield in terms of our rice variety. Can we have now the next slide, please? Okay. So this will now lead us to, since I work in a Chinese Filipino institution, educational institution, the Chinese character for crisis, I do not know how to pronounce that. It is a combination of the character for danger. So there is danger, but at the same time, there is an opportunity. In as much as this unprecedented crisis has threatened our formal education systems, it has also presented us the opportunities to grow, improve, and drive. So the next step now is, what is your call to action despite the pandemic or COVID-19? Can we have now the next slide? I will share my personal experience. Okay, so we are under, we went to the enhanced community quarantine, and now we transition to the general community quarantine. And it's almost 3 months already under the community quarantine. Okay, so what I did during the 3 months period of the community quarantine, okay, I watched different Korean novellas, which I did not do while I'm still in while I'm still in school teaching. So I started watching Crash Landing on You in Netflix, okay, The Descendants of the Sun, and Itaewon Class also. And tonight there is this The King Eternal Monarch. I'm very excited because there are only 3 episodes left, okay, in Netflix, and it's about to end. Okay, so sir, but why you focus more, or Mr. Dilio, why you focus more on watching Korean novellas in Netflix? Well, doing that because these are 16 episodes. Okay, so it's very long. Okay, well, doing that while watching in between, can we have the next slide, please? While doing or watching the Korean novellas in between episodes, I also I did rather e-learning or courses online. Okay, so I undertake courses online. First, TESDA, you can see the website there, www.etesda.gov.ph. Okay, there are a limited number of now the slide, please. Okay, so you can also do online courses in TESDA online training program or online program. So you can and select courses that are related to agriculture, okay, or food production, so that you will learn so much about agriculture. The next one, I took up a course, also an online course in the Department of Agriculture. In the lower portion of my slide, you can see there the growing rice organically. Okay, that's an extension program of the Department of Agriculture. So you can do also online courses there. That's the e-extension.gov.ph e-learning. Okay, there are so many courses, agricultural courses. in that particular platform, online platform. Okay, so all you have is to email or the text and text the courses that you want, and you will receive a text message or an email for the enrollment key or a code. Then you can enter the code into the website and you can start now undergoing the online course for agriculture. Next also, if I do not know if you have a GCash account, can we go back to the previous slide? Okay, I do not know if you have a GCash account. A GCash account is a G forest. Since we cannot plant during this pandemic, we cannot plant trees during this pandemic for COVID-19, the GCash will not allow us to plant trees. Okay, so all you have to do is to use the app online transaction when you do your food order using Grab, Angkas, or when you deliver items using Lalamove. Okay, so you use your GCash so that you can earn energy points, and that energy points you can convert that by planting trees. So you can select what kind of tree you need to plant. Okay, then GCash in partnership with the WWF will plant trees for you. Okay, in the Evo watershed in Metro Manila. Okay, another one is there are online communities, online sellers. So many online sellers. One example of that is the Yamang Eden. That's a easy shopping. Okay, they sell agricultural products directly from the farm to your tables. So all you have to do is to order online via Facebook. Then you pay the amount using GCash. Then they will deliver the food to your doorsteps or to your house. That's fresh from the farms. Okay, these are some of the activities in between watching Korean novellas and undergoing agricultural courses. I call it lucubrate. Okay, what is that lucubrate? Not lubricate, but it's lucubrate, to work, write, or study laboriously, especially at night. Just what we are doing at this very moment. We're studying at night, so we are lucubrating. Okay, so can we have now the next slide? Okay, then at the same time, I have this partnership, okay, with Unigrow. Okay, Unigrow, they live healthy and eat organic. This is a company, international company, focuses on producing organic fertilizer, pure organic fertilizer using biotechnology. Okay, this particular company, okay, I did partnership with them. I am ambassador of the organic farming or sustainable agriculture or organic agriculture. Okay, we must ensure that when we use fertilizer in our produce, okay, that it should be ecologically sound. Okay, it will not harm our environment. It must be economically viable, that it is possible, okay, that we can make it. Okay, next, socially just and equitable, that we will not destroy the local communities. Next, it is culturally sensitive. Okay, so we are considering the culture of the different communities in our countries, the different cities, municipalities, provinces of our countries, Luzon, Mindanao. So we consider we are very sensitive to their culture in terms of the practice of agriculture. Some agricultural lands, they use this kind of big kaayo na statue para paalisin yung mga animals or mga insects, okay, sa farm. So that's a culture, culturally practiced by some of the localities in the country. Then at the same time, we use appropriate technology. Okay, so we can, I think carabaos are extinct at this very moment. Okay, so can we use technology to plow our lands? Okay, so that's appropriate technology for every farm, okay, that we have. Also, we can use to test the acidity of the soil. There's a technology for that, to test the acidity of the soil, so that we will know how much fertilizer we will employ in that particular land, that kind of land rather, knowing the acidity. Another one, it should be grounded with holistic science, that it is holistic in approach. Not just doing this, you will earn, but at the same time destroying other side of the story. Another one is to promote total human development. That while we are doing this sustainable agriculture, in the end, okay, so It is the promotion of our development as humans. Okay, so that's very important because, you know, this nature, the time for nature, this earth is only one, and we only have one earth. Okay, and we should be part of that. Okay, so next, can we have the next slide, please? Then when we talk about organic agriculture, which this company Unigrow practices, okay, so we talk two things. First is it is pro-environment. The second one, it is pro-people. When we say pro-environment, we are earning from our agriculture products and services. But at the same time, we take good care of the environment. We conserve the soil and its fertility. We reduce water pollution. We protect different kinds of organisms in the soil, air, and water, and we preserve biodiversity and less utilization of non-renewable external inputs and energy. So in the end, we always take time to consider the nature or the environment. The second one, it should be pro-people. There is this clamor for healthy food. You know, if your food is full of, or agricultural products are full of chemicals. So it is just like eating fruits and vegetables. You think it's healthy, but it is dangerous to your health. Okay, no pesticide residue rather in food. So if it is organic, then it is healthy to eat. Okay, so that's one thing. Next is no hormones and antibiotics in animals. So when we eat animals, it is not antibiotics or hormones. So when we eat chicken, okay, so it's chemically induced, or there's antibiotic or perhaps hormones in that particular animal, then we eat that. So it is unhealthy in our end. Then another one is better taste of the product. Okay, so it is not chemically produced. Meaning to say, you can really feel the fruits and vegetable, ang taste of the nature, the taste of the environment. Okay, not the taste of the chemical. And the next one is longer shelf life. Okay, if it is organic, okay, in nature. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, this time, I will let you watch a video about sustainable development. What is this sustainable development all about? Kindly play the video, please.
Hi guys! Do you have time for a few quick questions? I see you're having a lot of fun, but do you ever stop and think if what you do is sustainable? And do you know what sustainable development means? Sustainable development is to make the world a better place for everyone now without destroying the possibilities for the next generations. If you wonder if something is sustainable, you can ask yourself, can we do this over and over again forever? Sustainable development means that we need to keep three things in mind at once: social progress, economic development, and climate and environment. First of all, we have to take care of our planet. We have many natural ecosystems that must be in balance in order for us to live here. The climate system is one of them. This system ensures that the temperature is correct and that the atmosphere emits exactly the right amount of solar energy. When we emit harmful greenhouse gases, such as CO2, we clog the atmosphere. This changes the temperatures on Earth, which again affects our development. How we produce and use energy is incredibly important. Oil and coal are examples of energy we may run out of. Water, wind, and sun, however, will always be here. Using the lasting sources of energy that renew themselves is good for the planet and can provide jobs for years to come. Economics. Almost everything we develop, buy, and trade starts with nature. The smarter we use our natural resources and the better systems we create for a fair distribution, the more sustainable we are. One way to contribute to a more even distribution is to be more aware of what we buy and how it is produced. A football is a good example. It travels far before it reaches the football players. First, the materials are made. Then, they print the logo somewhere else before a third country sews it all together. One single football sees the whole world before it reaches its goal. This journey ties us together. If we are to win the battle for a sustainable future, we have to play with fair rules that applies to everyone. Social progress. We humans are part of nature, but we're also important resources for the world. Just like water, the forest, and the sun, we have minds that can create the strangest and most creative things. But for us to be the best versions of ourselves, there are certain things that must be in order, like having equal opportunities to education, safety, food, and medicine. This provides greater opportunities for us as human beings, but also for the planet. We just have to think in new ways. These three must work together. That is sustainable development. And there is actually a plan for this. All the countries of the United Nations have agreed on a joint plan for sustainable development. But for the plan to work, we need to cooperate, and we need you to be on board. Are you with us?
Okay, so it's a concept of combining the profit, uh, the planet, and the people, okay, so that we will have a sustainable future. So the next, what we can do now is, what do you want to become in the future? Okay, so, or what do you want to become to have a sustainable future? Okay, so that's the next question. I hope that in this webinar, how many of you, that's 114, a while, 100 plus, okay? At least 10, 5, 3, or at least 1 will take up agriculture, especially for students, to take up agriculture in college. Or if you do not want agriculture, you take up courses such as engineering, medicine, and the rest, but you combine agriculture in that particular field of expertise. So that's what I've done a while ago. I combine agriculture with architecture. I combine agriculture with banking and finance. I combine agriculture in education. Perhaps you can combine agriculture in medicine. You can combine agriculture in other courses. In short, you should not forget agriculture in whatever that you will do or you want to become in the future, so that we will have a sustainable future. Okay. The next generation, the generation after me, or if there are older generations in this particular webinar, must be able to understand the importance of not just rice as a staple food of half of humankind or mankind, but the importance of agricultural products and services in the development of our country as a sustainable country 2025, 2030 from now, 50 years from now, or 100 years from now. So can we have now the next slide, please? Okay. So if you are also watching, aside from Korean novellas, there is this Demon Slayer, also in Netflix. Okay. He said that no matter how much you have lost, life must go on. So no matter how much we have lost in terms of income or resources during this pandemic, our life must continue. Life must continue. No matter how tough it gets, no matter how our environment has changed because of COVID-19 or because of pandemic, we have to move on. Okay, we have to continue moving on. And no matter, I will add, okay, to the Demon Slayer, that no matter how the circumstances in the future or another pandemic will come, we should never give up. We should never give up our origin as an
Mr. Dilio?
Okay. So I will end my
Mr. Dilio?
presentation. I'll add, hello? Can you hear me?
Hello,
Okay.
Mr. Dilio,
So,
are you still with us, sir?
hello? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I will add from the quote of Demon Slayer that no matter how the circumstances in the future, okay, but if this pandemic will happen again in the future, we should never give up. We should never give up our origin as an agricultural archipelago. We should not give up our agricultural origin as a country. And we need to push forward that agriculture, okay, mindset or agriculture, whatever is that, no matter what it takes, okay, no matter what it takes. That's the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sir Dilio, for that very wonderful talk. The open forum is now open. We would like to allot the remaining time. We have 10 minutes for the open forum. We will request the participants to please keep your questions brief and concise so that everyone will be given the chance to ask the question. Any participant who would like to raise any questions or concerns, please raise your hand in Zoom right now. And you may also comment down on our group chat so at least we can get our questions to the speaker. To all those who are watching through Facebook Live, you may also comment down on the post so your question can reach us here. So anyone with any question, you may raise your hand right now through Zoom. Okay, we have sir, we have a question from Carlito Quijano. Sir, the question is, why is agriculture constant from time to time?
Again, sorry.
Sir, the question is, why does agriculture change from time to time?
Okay, so just like time also, okay, so just like what is happening in our country, it changes from time to time. So we also need to adapt to the changes, okay? Just like agriculture, we need to adapt to the changes because no one now, I do not know in your case, in the younger generation, if you are familiar with Carabaos, okay? So if you are not familiar with Carabaos, but you are familiar with technologies, and that's now the trend, that's the new change in the landscape of our country, agricultural landscape of the country, then instead of using Carabao, perhaps, then we can use technology. I think it's normal for things in this particular universe or in this world to change. The challenge is that and how you can adapt, okay? How you can adapt to technologies, or you can adapt rather or be flexible to changes, okay? That's something that is more important. I hope that will answer your question, Carlito.
Thank you, Sir Carlito, for that question. Sir, we have another question coming from Reval Babiera. Question po, sir. Given the current situation in the COVID pandemic and the fad of the entertainment industry like showbiz, how can we influence students or the youth to support agriculture?
Okay, we start first is that we need to walk the talk. Okay, so we should have first again the mindset. Okay, the agricultural mindset. You start with that. Then again, you do something that is related to that mindset. You start acting on that mindset. Okay, so you plant trees na now, you join movements, okay, and so on and the rest, or you take courses, online courses, and so on and the rest. Okay, so you have to have credibility, okay, in order for you to be a reliable advocate, if you want to advocate in that, an agriculture advocate, okay, or ambassador, agricultural ambassador. Another one is that if we have a social influence, okay, in our respective communities, I think we use that, okay, we use that influence, that social influence to make a change or to drive change in that local community. Okay, so for example, in the case of James Reed, I think it's more of the popularity of James than the agricultural setting or the agricultural in it. Okay, so I think they use James as a model for younger generation to be interested in agriculture. Okay, because so can you imagine if James is your idol or my idol now undergoing agriculture? I think it's about time that I should also practice rather agriculture. Okay, so it's two-way. Okay, so use your influence at the same time you walk the talk.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for answering that question. We have, since due to time constraints, sir, we will be only entertaining one last question.
Okay.
So the question is coming from Noah Itangon. I lived in the mountains of Cordilleras and the plains of Isabela. Are there any advocacies now present in the areas like these, especially educating the youth with regard to agriculture? If there are any, may I join?
I do not know in that mountains of Cordillera. I think that's why I am creating this advocacy, that agricultural mindset, because I did not find such one in the region or in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Perhaps there are advocacies, but I'm not familiar. Okay, or I did not encounter them. Okay, so I think it's, if you listen to my talk, then you can start that agricultural mindset in your region or in that mountains of Cordillera. Okay, so especially if you're a scout, then you can start. Okay, you lead the way. Okay, that's a challenge for you now. That's your call to action, Noah. If you can replicate or re-echo this particular talk to your region, then it's much better. Okay, I will appreciate that. I will read through the comments na lang. I know we only have one, and I'll read through the last 4 comments, then I'll just do fast then before our time will end. Okay, so I was raised by a farmer. How can we help back our farmers during this pandemic? I think BP Lenny Robredo, okay, they created this, as what I said a while ago, we have these Facebook accounts, okay? We create Facebook accounts, just like BP Lenny Robredo. Then we contact all the farmers in that region, okay? So their produce must be placed into the Facebook account to facilitate the delivery of the agricultural products and services, okay, of the farmers. Then I think if if you have cars, if you have kanang buses, if you have shipping transportation or logistics, something related, then we can use that. Okay, call your friends, okay, to partner with you, okay, to partner with you in that course, so that we can deliver farm produce to the tables of those who need agricultural products. Okay, that's one thing. What do you think are the agricultural mindset that are lack here in the Philippines? Okay, because we think that agriculture is for the poor, or we cannot be successful in agriculture. That's why we need to change the mindset that agriculture is something that is very low in nature. Okay, now you cannot be successful. We need to change that culture and change the mindset. We can do more. We can be more in agriculture. Okay, that's one thing. The next, the Philippines is an agricultural country. Sir, what is your reaction that our agricultural land is being converted to industrial land? That's why I presented the sustainable development. We can combine progress. Okay, we can combine industrial progress, okay, with agriculture. That's why I have this agritecture, agriculture plus architecture. So I propose vertical farming, vertical gardening. Okay, so in terms of industrial revolution, industrial progress, then can we incorporate agriculture in that? Okay, so that's the challenge for the next generation, how we can incorporate agriculture in the industrial progress that we will be experiencing 10 years, 20 or 30 years from now. Okay, why our country is behind in agricultural technology? Perhaps because we did not invest so much in agricultural technology. This is not our priority. Okay, so if we do movement, that this should be our priority, because we realize the importance of agriculture as a country is not the corporate whatever jobs that you have at this very moment. They are closing. There is this unemployment. But in terms of agriculture, we realize that our priority is food. Okay, at the end of the day, we need to eat. Then I think we need to make agriculture as our priority. We need to push that. Okay, whoever these politicians that we need to do something to push for agriculture, then we can do that. Okay, particularly advancement of technology in agriculture. Okay, we need to train more people. Or perhaps for younger generation, you can study agriculture outside of the country, outside of the Philippines. Then you go back to our country, apply what you've learned there in abroad rather, then apply that into our country. That's a good start. Okay. What else? Okay. I started already requesting seeds from the Bureau of Plant Industry from my fellow farmers in Ifugao. That's a good thing. Actually, you can ask free seeds from the Department of Agriculture. You can just request, okay, from the Department of Agriculture, then they will give you free seeds so that you can start. If it is hard for you, if you don't have farms, okay, or bigger farms, then you can just start container gardening or small garden in your houses, okay, or a backyard garden. So start with that. At least supply for yourself or for your family. Okay, that's a good start. Next is, what are the hindrances why is our country is being left behind in terms of agricultural development? Again, I will repeat, this is not our priority. Okay, so we need to change that this should be our priority. We need to change the mindset of the people that this is the priority. And we realize the importance of agriculture this time, this COVID-19 pandemic, that we are not self-sufficient enough to supply food for the entire population. Okay, I hope that will answer all the questions. Thank you so much for listening to my advocacy. Hello, Ken.
Thank you so much, Sir Dilio, for your very wonderful talk. On behalf of the team, sir, we would like to present a little gift from us because of in recognition of your appreciation and your support for the Time for Nature advocacy, sir. We would like to present to you the Certificate of Recognition and Appreciation for sharing your experience and knowledge as a module speaker for the Agricultural Mindset on June 5, 2020. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us tonight. And
Okay.
aside from Sir Dilio, we would also like to thank our fellow viewers for watching us right now in Facebook Live and through Zoom. Your certificates will be given after the closing ceremony on June 7, 2020. Before closing this webinar, we have a few announcements from our end. The first of which is that we encourage everyone to join us this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. for our online mass to be presided by Father Gilbert Levosada SJ. He's the director for formation of Sacred Heart School Ateneo de Cebu. We would also like to request everybody and we also encourage everybody to watch the closing program on June 7, 2020 at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Then we would also like to encourage our viewers to join us in our Time for Nature challenge, the details of which you can find on our page, eScouting PH. And that's all for our announcements from our end. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. We hope that you have learned a lot and enjoyed a whole lot more from the third Scouts webinar. This has been your host, Eagle Scout Ken Baltiador. And from all of us here in eScouting PH, thank you and good evening. Let us continue to always bring the joys of scouting in our hearts wherever we are. Mabuhay ang scouting worldwide. Stay safe, scout on.